Hey guys, just a quick reminder that I've been working on a Valorant course that is essentially all of the fundamentals that you need to know to master comp in Valorant. So, keep your eyes peeled for that. It's likely going to come out a week or so, a week or less from now. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about 4 things that severely hold you back in Valorant from improving, ranking up, overall just becoming a better player and mentally kind of a better player, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. These are things that I've understood about people that I've coached and just pretty much watching people type in my server. No offense to any of you guys that are out there watching, right? But the first tip is you focus too much mental energy on things that don't matter, right? So this sounds kind of broad, but I also listed a few examples to kind of make it a little more understandable. So people often put too much mental energy into their sensitivity, your losses, your KD, bad teammates, etc. The list goes on and on and on and on about the things that you could focus on that simply just do not matter about are you going to improve, right? So if you're focusing on your sensitivity, you're thinking about something that doesn't have a direct impact to you improving, right? The problem is you might think that it does, but in reality, it most likely, very, very most likely does not. Same thing with your losses. Folks, don't get me wrong, right? Like focusing on your losses and, like VOD reviewing, stuff like that can be extremely impactful to help you improve. But whenever you focus on losses in a way that's like, negative self-talk, you're like, oh my God, look how many losses I have, right? That's the type of thing I'm talking about. Same thing with your KD. If you're focusing on your KD either when it's good or bad, particularly good or bad, that's also the same thing, right? So if you're focusing on it when it's bad, that's like a negative self-talk sort of thing. And when you're focusing on it when it's like super good, you're basically boosting your ego, which is not what you want. Because whenever you have a fragile ego, things can get out of control whenever you clash with teammates, right? And so, you don't want to develop this idea that you're super good in silver, right? Because if you think you're the best silver player that exists, well, enjoy your stay in silver, buddy. No offense, right? So divert your focus to things that are much more useful, right? So for example, like I said earlier, VOD reviewing is a very good one. Focusing on, if you're in a game currently, focusing on specific things that you could do round to round to help your team win. Not only just you, but maybe even coordinating plans with their comms to, win rounds, round to round. What else? Focus your attention on abilities or ults. What can you buy? What can your team buy? Stuff like that instead of, oh my God, look at my KD. Oh my God, right? Whatever that might mean. Just focus on things that actually objectively can help you win the game, even though they seem like, oh, these don't actually matter, right? If I have an extra 100 credits next round, right, that doesn't really matter. But if you could have bought an extra, I don't know, ability, or if you could have bought a shorty whenever you're opping, something like that, something just really minor, divert your focus to those things, right? Because those things are the particularly important things. Rapid improvement is likely if you do this. So moving on to the next tip, or not tip, but the thing that severely holds you back. The next thing is stop letting your team's negative energy determine how you perform, right? I like the word determine there, right? Stop letting your team's negative energy determine how you perform, right? So this is a trap, right? There's so many traps you can fall into whenever you're playing Valorant. And this is one of them, right? So whenever you get a bad team, whenever you've lost 3 games in a row and you get one person says, I'm throwing, you took my duelist, right, in agent select, and you're basically like, oh, this game's over, we lost, right? This is you letting your teammates determine how the game's going to go, right? Even if that guy is like upset, very angry, toxic, throwing, even leaving the game, you're letting him determine how the game goes, right? Because you could still win, right? There's no reason you could not still win that game. There's no reason you couldn't, put effort forward and win the game for your team. So all that matters is what you can do in any given game, right? Does that make sense, guys? Because who can you control? You. Who can you not control? Everybody else, right? Does that make sense? Like, that's all you need to understand here. Stop letting your team's negative energy determine how you perform. Also, remember that you can be teammates, right? So a nice little side note for you guys. If you have a whiny little baby teammate on your team that's about 2 years old and you don't like him and you've been trying to give him a chance for like 3 rounds, but he's still, wah! Right, in the chat, and he's just typing, he's, right, something like that, you can just mute him and focus on what you want to do instead. So, right, also, I've said this before, but whenever you have a teammate like that, it's pretty common for other teammates to kind of like give into the energy as well. Excuse my voice crack. it's very common for teammates to give into that energy as well. And so whenever that happens, you can try to, politely convince those teammates to mute the one person and try to focus up. This is often not going to work, but sometimes it will work. And whenever it does work, you have a much better chance of actually winning the game with those, 3 other teammates, instead of everyone just having a fight with the one person that's being, crying. So the next thing that is likely to be severely holding you back is you play too many agents and or you play not enough comp. So these are 2 things that are very common, especially in lower ranks. So, if you're iron, bronze, silver, or even gold, usually silver and below, these are going to be common problems. Even for ranks above this, people play too many agents or roles, and also you don't play enough comp. So too many agents shows that it slows your potential growth. It's prevents you from being consistent. So like the way that I like to explain it or think of it is, if you're playing if you're playing a little bit of a bunch of agents, you're going to be good at them. But if you play a lot of a couple of agents, you're going to be great at them, right? And that allows you the potential to become the greatest at them, right? So, if you're not allowing yourself that chance, then, what are you doing, right? That's a pretty solid setback. So this is also a very common one because people just don't like to, I guess, commit or pick a role or an agent or a couple of agents. And it's not like it's like you can't swap eventually. It's not like you're, it's not like you're marrying someone, it's not like that. So again, moving on to the next part of this is you don't play enough comp. So playing unrated or smurfing, that's another part of it, right? To feel good about yourself or severe limitations. So people often like, I have 3 comp games this act. I've just been playing unrated. I think I'm pretty good though. I think I'll place iron 3 or at least bronze 1. Well, how are you gonna know, kid, if you don't ever place? Like, go play comp. Like, go play comp. You guys understand? Like, I don't get it, I can't, I get the smurfing part kind of because I used to do that a little bit. Like, it's kind of just fun, right? But if you really care about ranking up and you really want to improve, stop smurfing. You're just stunting your growth. Because you understand, playing in one rank versus another, if you're, say, gold and you smurf in bronze, your perception of how the enemies play, if you play too much in bronze, is going to be, extremely different, right? So whenever you play in bronze and you come back to gold, you're going to be thinking that you're still playing against gold or bronze players, and when in reality you don't know how to play anymore because you're just not playing in gold. Also, you basically lose certain skills. You lose parts of your muscle memory. It's just not worth it. And whenever you play unrated, it's the same thing except it's unrated, and it's even more brain dead because people just run around, don't know what they're doing. People are probably new to the game, and unrated as well more often. And people in unrated sometimes have probably never played comp. So if you really care about playing comp, again, if you don't care about playing comp, then why are you here? Go away. But I'm assuming that everyone here watching wants to get better at comp. So, stop playing unrated and stop smurfing so often. It's okay to play unrated every now and then and again and smurf with your friends occasionally. But if you're doing it I lost this game, I'm gonna go smurf, right? That's dumb. No offense, right? No offense, but that's dumb. Play strictly comp and deathmatch frequently. So you guys know me, that's my take. Play comp frequently, take rare breaks of 1 to 2 days if you need, and make sure you're throwing deathmatch before you play comp. Not throwing, but throwing in deathmatch, making sure you're playing some deathmatch. And yeah, so we can go and move on to the final thing that is likely severely holding you back in Valorant. So stop blaming teammates for your own weaknesses, for your own inadequacies, right? Stop doing it. Stop doing it. It's going to hold you back severely. So accept rightful blame and say, my bad, right? So whenever someone says, yo, Jet, what was that, bro? Instead of snapping, be like, and having a fit, right? Because that's a very common thing that happens. Instead of having a fit, you just deep breath, right? Deep breath. Whenever your teammate says something, calls you out, you say, my bad, we got this round. We can still win, we got this, right? That's basically the gist of what you want to be saying. Because you have to accept that if you actually did something wrong, then you gotta take, responsibility for it. Because if you just don't, and you don't say anything, or you start freaking out, your chances of losing the game plummet. They plummet, because then your team's like, oh god, these guys are, no matter how well you're even playing, if you're just arguing, screaming, causing conflict within your team, it's just not going to help you out at all. Even if you did nothing wrong, I would still be like, my bad, my bad, because that is just, you can't go wrong with it, right? The only reason you would not be able to say that is if your ego is too fragile, or, you have too big of an ego, because then you're not willing to, accept that because that's just my perception. But you must admit your mistakes, at least to yourself, to become unstoppable. Unstoppable. We all want to become unstoppable, right? So admit your mistakes, especially the ones that you really know that you made. Because if you know that you made one, or you subconsciously knew that you made one, and you didn't actually, tell it to yourself mentally, or like your teammate called it out or something, and you didn't, say, yeah, that's my bad. That was my bad, right? That's gonna severely limit you, because that's how you learn, right? You learn from making mistakes, not only from making mistakes, but from admitting and trying to think what you could have done better. Because if you admit, you can start to begin to imagine what you could have done better. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. That's all that I have for you. And yeah, keep an eye out for my course. Much love. See you guys in the next one. Peace.